Have you considered using self-circulation for the students in your library media program? Well, if you have, I'm going to give you some great tips and steps for starting this program in your library media center. When I first started talking to my principal about becoming the media specialist at my school, one of the first things that she told me was that as media specialist, she expected me to work with the students and the teachers for collaboration and instruction, and that my job was not to be checking books in and out or shelving books on a daily basis. So she said that I needed to do self-circulation. Since I wasn't a media specialist yet and I was still taking my classes, I thought, well, sure, I'll go ahead and jump right on in. So I started investigating and putting together some ideas. And so when I got the first day of school, starting the new year, I jumped right in and started the program. With 700 patrons at my school and no media clerk and having only one volunteer usually a day for a couple of hours, I utilize my volunteers for shelving. So there's really no need for anybody to sit at a circulation desk and just monitor everything. We actually did a remodel at my school and took out the main circulation desk. So I decided to use two former display cases. I had those taken out and used countertops in their place for a checkout station on one side of the media center and a check-in station on the other side. I will go ahead and caution you to keep those two functions separate because the kids get too confused if you go back and forth or if they're together. So definitely it helps to have them separated. So the circulation system that we use is Destiny 14.5, and I've also taken an extra step in customizing the warning sounds in Destiny to make sure that the students understand how they're checking it in, because the beeps, it was hard to distinguish between which one meant everything's okay or there's a problem. So I went in and recorded my voice, which you can do too, and I'm going to tell you how to do that later. Here's the check-in station. Before our remodel, it was a display case. We took out the top glass part of the display case and left the bottom storage cabinets and added our Formica top over the top of them. I have one desktop computer there which needs to have an internet connection in order to connect with Destiny. You could use a laptop for the same purpose, which I have seen in other media centers. You're going to need to have your barcodes for check-in and reset already set up. You can download those from the Destiny system. I put the barcodes on cardstock and use clear shelf paper to adhere them to the counter. I have a scanning one, at least that's what I call it, attached to the computer for the students to use, and I have a book cart right next to the station. I have the cart labeled with sections for everybody books, fiction books, nonfiction, and biographies. I teach the kids how to put the books into different sections so that when my volunteers come in, they can go right to the books and get them back on the shelves as soon as possible. The book hospital crate is also close by in case students see any problems with the books. I have them go ahead and check those books in because I can always go back into the book's history to find out who had it if there's a serious problem that needs to be addressed. The students know to put a sticky note on the front of the book to let me know what issue to look for. Those are just a few of the tips for the check-in station. Here's a picture of the book return cart. The checkout station has two computers with scanning wads and keypads connected via USB. You need two checkout computers because the volume of students trying to check out, especially when there's a whole class. I have the labeled cards for the stations with the Destiny barcodes for student checkout and reset. One thing I noticed right away was students trying to crowd each other at the counter. To solve this, I made a waiting spot slightly away from the computers. We're the Boston Bears, so I found Bear Paw floor-friendly stickers from Oriental Trading. Only one student may use each computer at a time. Others must wait at their waiting spot. This helps tremendously with crowd control. I have a binder on the counter also with an alphabetical listing of all the patron lunch numbers. This is really handy in the beginning of the year when the students are rusty on their numbers. I update this list periodically for when students move out and move in. The kindergarten barcodes are actually printed from Destiny at the beginning of the year since they are still learning what a lunch number is and how to key it in on the keypad. For the first couple of months, we hand over hand help them at the computers and teach them one at a time. This is a process that takes a little bit longer, but usually by October they have it. I also have a bucket there for shelf markers so that the kids have a place to deposit them instead of just leaving them at the counter. Here's a quick look at the checkout station and
Hey
how
Naomi,
it
what are you
works.
guys doing?
We're checking out books with our class.
Okay, why are you guys standing at the bear paws?
Because only one person can be at the computers at one time.
Okay, is anybody there in front of you?
No.
Okay, I guess it's your turn.
Okay.
All right, will you walk me through the steps of how you check a book out?
Absolutely. So first I'm going to put my lunch number in, like we do at lunch.
And what did you press to make it say thank you?
Enter.
Very good. And now what do you see on the computer?
I see that I've already checked out some books, so I need to make sure that I check those in.
Okay, but how do you know it's your account?
Then you'll see your name and you'll see what class you're in and your picture.
Okay, so how many books do you have checked out right now?
I already have 2, so I better not check this book out today.
Actually, you can check the book out. It'll be okay. You can have
Okay.
3. All right, so now what are you doing?
I'm going to scan the book using the scanner. I'm just going to press this once over the barcode.
Okay, and why did it say thank you?
It said thank you because you are done scanning it.
How do you know that it showed up on the computer correctly?
It says the name of it and then it tells you thank you.
Okay, so can you just walk away from the computer now?
No, because then other people are going to check books out on your account.
So what are you going to do?
You have to either touch the reset button or you can scan the reset barcode.
So how do you know the computer's ready for the next person?
Your picture's not there anymore, your name's not there anymore, and it is ready for another person to put their number in.
Awesome. So who's next?
Rylan.
All right, Rylan, show us how you do it.
First, you have to type in your lunch number and then press enter.
Thank you.
And then you have to scan the book on the barcode.
Thank you.
And when you're done with that, you either press reset or you scan it.
The
Awesome.
most important parts of student self-circulation: training your patrons. This is not difficult. It's like all other procedures that must be taught. You need to take your time and be consistent. My first year was the hardest because I was a new media specialist implementing a new system to an entire school where everyone was used to someone taking care of all the checking in and checking out. Within the first few days, I learned very quickly what was working and what needed to be changed. Definitely train your teachers during pre-planning and discuss your expectations of their help. I introduced new procedures to them, such as homeroom library baskets and library helpers. I also discussed the necessity of their help during class checkout. The teachers should be standing at the checkout station watching and supervising students to make sure that they're following the correct steps and listening for the appropriate computer responses and helping students if there's a problem. It's very important to have your teachers on board for this process. The next part is training your students. I did that during Media Center orientation lessons the second week of school, using a PowerPoint with the pictures of the steps for each of the stations. I also did live demonstrations at both the checkout and check-in stations for the students because I thought that it would help them see me physically go through the process and see what I expected them to do. Basically, I would have the entire group crowd around each of the stations and I went through the whole process. Kindergarten, again, is a completely different entity. At the beginning of the year, we're not focused on them knowing their lunch numbers the first few visits, so we use the Destiny barcodes until probably October. By then, they start learning their lunch numbers and can key them in. Here's the PowerPoint slides that I used during training. Training your library helpers. I have homeroom library baskets for each class. I just got plastic crates from Walmart at $3 each and made color-coded grade level name tags on the front of each crate with the teacher's name. Each homeroom teacher is supposed to choose 2 responsible students to be the helpers for the year. The first week of school, I have a set time when each grade level comes down to train, so kindergarten helpers all come together for training, then 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Helpers have this job for the entire year. It's too confusing to rotate the job to others because they need to be consistent with their duties, and unless somebody moves or is out sick, I shouldn't have any substitutions. The teachers need to be very clear on that. I do step-by-step demonstrations for their duties for the checking in of the books. The helpers are supposed to work as a team to check in the books. It's faster to have one student be the scanner and one to be the shelver. They can switch duties the next time they come in. We also discuss what to do with any books that have an issue or if there's a warning sound such as past due books or on hold books. A common problem is that the cursor is not active in the check-in box on the computer screen. So when a book is scanned, there's a beep, but not my voice saying anything. In that case, the helpers just need to use the mouse to click back into the check inbox. I let them practice scanning books and putting the books on the return cart. The first few times that they come in at the beginning of the year, I try to observe them as they check the books in, as long as I'm not busy with another class. I just like to see how they're doing and help them along a bit. Students do also come in to check books in individually and in small groups, so again, I teach everyone how to check in books during orientation. I'm also a big believer in each one teach one. When students need help, I try to get other students to assist them because it builds confidence and reinforces the skills when you help somebody else. Students are very good about letting me know when there are problems and if they truly need my assistance. Here's a couple of first graders doing their job. Changing the sounds in Destiny. I didn't even know that you could do this until I visited another media specialist and I heard her students checking in books. She said they were like that when she took over the media center, so I started investigating about how to change those sounds. The first thing you have to do is record your sounds or commands using a .wav or WAV file format. I did this using Audacity, which is a free program that you can download on your computer. Go ahead and record your voice or your sounds to whatever you want them to be and save them to your computer. Know where they are on the computer and then open up Destiny program and log in. Choose the back office tab at the top and then on the left hand side, site configuration. Once on the site configuration page, look towards the bottom and you'll see the circulation sound section. You're going to click on the change button next to one of the sounds. There's one for all is well, attention needed, finds an overdue, and holds. The new window will pop up once you hit the change button, and it's going to ask you where you want to browse to find your sound file. Select your file and then click the upload button, which is next to browse. Once you've changed all the sounds that you want, look at the bottom right side of the site configuration page and be sure to click save before you exit. If you don't, the sounds will still be the same as when you started. Now, you can always go back and reset your sounds to the original if you don't like something, or re-record a sound if it's not sounding right for you. I changed my all is well to thank you, and my needs attention to get Mrs. Martin, and overdue to overdue books. That's your quick tutorial on changing sounds in Destiny. Final tips and advice. Students aren't perfect, so there's going to be things that you need to relax about. Books are not always going to be put back on the return cart exactly right. I have to check my cart periodically during the day and rearrange things that are out of place, or my volunteers take care of it. Students do sometimes put books on the book return cart without actually checking them in. One way to double check behind them is to have your volunteers do a quick rescan of the books before shelving. It takes just a couple of minutes, but it saves time in the long run. Do books occasionally get reshelved without being checked in? Yes, and in that case, you will catch them when another student tries to check that book out, or when the student tries to check out a book himself, the old book's still going to show up on their account. You can override the transaction for students, or have the students go look on the shelf to find the book in question that needs to be scanned back in. Do students ever forget to check a book out before leaving with it? Occasionally, but the books always manage to be returned eventually. Do students accidentally check books out under someone else's account? Sometimes. You have to remind students continually to reset the computer when they finish checking out their books to avoid this happening. Also, teaching students to look at the screen before checking out helps. If you see someone else's information on the screen, tell them just to reset. With having my voice as the warning sound in Destiny, I can hear problems from across the media center. I can usually talk a student through the problem or send another student to assist them if I'm busy. Do I have to stop lessons to assist students? Very rarely. Either another student or a teacher or a volunteer can usually resolve the issue. The only time I truly have to go help is if I need to do an override. So to wrap up, students are very capable of self-circulation and love to be independent. We're the ones who have the most trouble letting go. Give them the opportunity to make your job less stressful so you can concentrate on teaching and collaboration. Besides, it's great training for future jobs at Walmart.